Happy St. Patrick's Day, kids. Spittin with Spitter. We are here. It's Wednesday, earlier time than normal. You know, before we get started, I want to shout out my two sponsors, Mom and Pop CBD Shop. They are located at 312 Town Center Boulevard. Go there for all your CBD needs. And right now, I'm currently at Lehigh Vape, 822 Nazareth Pike. Come here for all your vapor needs. They have hardware, juices, everything in between. Now my guest, class of 1998's best dressed. Matt Scerbo, my God, my brother, what's happening? How are you?
What's going on, everyone? Thanks for having me, DJ.
Absolutely. So I wanted to get started. First, let's explain to them how we met.
Sure. I believe it was back in, I would say, around 7th or 8th grade on Lewis Street.
Right.
I was in the vicinity. I had a girlfriend at the time that lived on the street. I came outside. I heard a little bit of ruckus, something hitting a car. Here it was TJ. He was playing tackle football with some other kids in the neighborhood, some familiar faces. I won't name everyone. And from ever since, I said, well, where are we going to play football? He said, right here. He said, there's no
tackle football on the street,
right
baby.
In the street, no out of bounds. The cars were out of bounds. So, I mean, our good friend, Bobby Amy, God rest his soul, he's the one that said there's no out of bounds. The cars are out of bounds. I was like, whoa, I don't know if I was ready for that. But here we are now. I say, what is it, about 25, 26 years later?
26 years later.
Strong friendship. We've been through a lot together through our lives, and we're still standing. That's the best part about this.
Most definitely. Now, your high school basketball, before we get in your high school basketball career, most people don't know this, but at a very young age, you took me aside and helped me perfect my jump shot.
Sure.
Which ultimately was your demise in a one-on-one. Most people won't talk about this, but I will talk about this here on Spittin with Spitter. I gave this guy one of his few losses in one-on-one basketball because can't let shooters shoot.
Sure. I guess you could say I created a monster, but all the days up there at the courts, I would dribble up there from my neighborhood. I grew up down in Hart Street, down off of Hillcrest Boulevard, right by the courts. TJ was always up there trying to get his shot better. He would rebound for me for about an hour, and then we would work on his shot. And believe it or not, as years went by, he got me when I was on a day I would say was not my best, but I'm not going to make excuses. Shooters shouldn't let shooters shoot, and that's what I did that day. And he made all the shots, and he won.
We got some people chiming in. Raymond Pass, that class of '98 crew.
What's up, Raymond?
James, brother James, what's up, my guy? Yeah, that's a great dude right there.
What's up, James?
So, your high school basketball career, I believe you set the record for most three-pointers in the game. Was it against Hunterdon Central?
North Hunterdon. Yeah, it was a record at the time. My coach, Travis Crozier.
Shout out to Crozier. He had a cannon, too.
Yeah, he was a great player, man. I learned a lot from the guy. One day we were playing North Hunterdon in their old gym, which was fairly small. Felt like, you could make every shot in there, and that's where that night it happened. I think Travis owned the record before that. He had 7 threes in a game, and I hit my 8th three to send that game into overtime and get the record. And we ended up winning the game on a couple foul shots by Michael Elko. So it was a memorable night. That record has been tied since by Sean Gale. I'm not sure of the year. Don't quote me on that, Sean, if you're listening. And then it was actually broken 2 years ago by Richie Manigault, who had 9 in a game. The funny story was, I know TJ put the picture on the promo. I'm at my school board meeting, and Dr. Troxel says, hey, you want to head over to the game? I hear that Richie has 6 3-pointers, and there's, another quarter to go. So I hurried over there because I knew he was probably going to break the record, that he was a great player. So long story short, he did it that night, and I couldn't be more happy for the kid. He's a great kid, and he's doing big things in college now. So,
definitely.
Yeah.
We got some chitter chatter going on in the comments. 99 was the best. I'm sorry. unfortunately, 98 was indeed the best graduating class. So your high school career, what was that like for you playing high school sports in Phillipsburg?
Oh, high school sports in Phillipsburg, it's exciting. It's a lot of pressure on you to meet, the demand of, the bright lights, whether it's football. Football and wrestling is really popular. Basketball is not as popular, but, basketball has a strong tradition too.
Yeah.
I came into it, I started JV my freshman year. We were still in the East Penn Conference at the time. And I suited up for varsity. I ended up getting a couple points, in garbage time when they put me in. I ended up starting then my sophomore year and the next 2 years after that, and was the team captain for my junior and senior year. I had great memories. We didn't have powerful teams, but one thing I'm proud of is 2 out of those 3 years we did make it to the state playoffs. And we had a group of younger and older kids. Jibo Flowers played with me my senior years. Tough. He was only a sophomore. Heck of a player. Harry Mora, who I believe is on that squad as well, coming up. Bobby Stefano, some of the younger guys I got the chance to play with.
One of my best memories of high school basketball was we went to Franklin against, they had, who was on the team? Reggie Garrett
And Daryl Plummer.
Yeah. Those two were different. Holy shit. That whole crowd, that whole environment, I've never seen nothing like it. I mean, I have now as I've older coached and seen more of the game, but that environment was crazy.
It was. That was my first varsity game ever, and it was a crazy environment. The gym pretty much only had like 3 lights in it. You're playing in mostly in the dark the whole time. I had, obviously back then, the 90210 sideburns or whatever was in, I guess you could say. And they were calling me Elvis half the time.
He had the chops.
And I remember I took a charge. They had a center that was like 6'9", 300 pounds. And, our coach, Tom Fisher, was big on taking charges. And I took the charge. I'll never forget, man, boy, was I sore for the next couple of days after that. But I did get the charge, called on the guy. So fun times, though. I will never forget that experience. And then at halftime, a guy came through the locker room and threw this big ice ball at our coach. Just opened up the door and threw it at him out of nowhere. So you never knew what to expect when you went down to Franklin.
That shit was crazy. Tom Fisher. I'm not going to jump onto that, not on this episode, maybe part 2, my dislike for the guy. But after high school basketball, you start coaching.
Sure. It was years after. I did go down to Gloucester County for a year and try to, hold on to my hoop dreams. And I played at Gloucester County College. I made the team until a meniscus injury derailed that. And then I came home and became an electrician. And, my father was an electrician for 30 years. He offered me that career to get into, and I took it from there. And then, like you mentioned about coaching, I got a phone call, I think is about in 2005 or 2006, from Richie Kellogg. And he asked me, he said, you're looking for a coach for Frithtown, because he was the president of Frithtown at the time. I couldn't say no to that. That was where I played growing up, and I was at the point in my life I was looking to give back to my community any way I could. So ever since then, I've been coaching in Frithtown. We had a lot of success over the years. I know because you started coaching against us recently in the past couple of years. So.
Yeah.
Which you actually beat us, 2 years ago? You
Last year.
Last year, okay.
Yeah. That's what happens when you teach me everything you know, and I take it across the bridge and use it to my advantage.
Yes, you did. You won fair and square.
Jason Connor said, "02, we brought back state titles back to the school for the first time since '83 and '01." Who won in '83? Was that Tarp?
Yeah.
Shout outs to Eddie Tarpey, Firth Youth Center legend
Legend.
will be on tentatively. We hope to have him on next Wednesday. Shout out to the legend Tarp. Greg Cartagena said, Coach, I owe Mr. Lutz.
Oh, for sure, Greg.
Oh, yes.
I'm glad you brought that up because they can not be dismissed and not mentioned in this episode because growing up, I think from 6th grade through 8th, I had the pleasure of having them as coach. They taught me a lot, not just about basketball, but about life. Growing up, I had great parents. But, when coaches come into your life, they're a big part of you, mentoring you and helping you through things. And they were a great combination. You had, Mr. Lutz, who was this tall, intimidating fellow with a heart of gold. But he wasn't going to let you slack off or take any shortcuts at all. And then you had Coach O, which I thought was this offensive mastermind, chewing on his toothpicks.
Yes.
Very serious, very wanted to win, had a winning atmosphere he created. And I learned a lot from them, and I tried to carry that on to my coaching career. But yeah, Greg, that was great that you brought that up, man, because they were a big influence on a lot of first-time kids growing up.
Yo, Cartagena is another one, man. Shout out to you and Cartagena. Cartagena would lock me in at Freeman School and just work with me on the court day and night until it just all clicked one day.
Sure.
Shout outs to Alan and Amy the second. What's up, Al? What's happening?
What's up, Al?
The big Al Boski around the turnbuckle is in the building. Sean Smith said, Matt, what's going on, bud?
Hey, what's going on, Sean?
So not only are you a coach, you're a community advocate. You want to tell everybody what you do as far as the school board goes? And
sure. I don't really get into school board business, but a couple years back, I've been serving on the school board now for 6 years. Back in 2015, I was vocal about merit bonuses that were being given out in the community to the then superintendent, which was additional money to his salary when, I just growing up in Phillipsburg my whole life, knowing the economics and things going on there, I felt that money could have been spent somewhere else for the kids or back into programs. And my father basically told me, I'm tired of hearing you complaining. Put your name on the petition and see what you can do. And that's what I did that year. I put my name on it. I did everything grassroots effort on my own. And I actually ended up collaborating with Al and Amy, who I've known senior, who I've known my whole life because I grew up with his sons. And we went door to door that fall, and we hit every door twice. Put on a lot of miles on these legs, and we came out victorious in that election. And then we did it again 3 years later, and same outcome. I just like to stand for, I have a big passion for helping kids. I always did growing up in my neighborhood. I was always the oldest in the neighborhood, and they were always looking to teach me how to play basketball, man, teach me how to play football. I was always there. My mom always said I always had patience for kids. I was going to make a good dad someday. So I kind of thought, maybe this is my calling from God, and just kind of went with it organically. And, I continue to do it in the community. It's a thankless job sometimes because sometimes people, you get a lot of hate towards you for trying to stand up for what's right. But in the end, I'm always going to do what my heart feels is best. So.
Speaking of children, and not to brag and boast, but my godson is probably going to be the best player to come out of Phillipsburg. Can we talk about that just for a second? Because I know he's already beaten you.
Sure, yeah. My back can't hold up anymore. Right? How quick he is, but yeah, Matthew, he puts in a lot of work, man. He's been putting in work since he was 6 years old. Coming to me when I was coaching the teams I was coaching, he wanted me to put him in those games. So he worked hard since then. He's continued to work hard. He's had a lot of success over the years in all three sports.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the future's bright for him. I'm not one to talk up my son a whole lot, but I'm very proud of him.
That's what I'm for.
That's what his uncle's for.
That's what I'm for, because he is the truth. I'm telling you, now.
And he recently joined the team of Team Jenkins, Horace Jenkins' AAU team. That is a new organization that's starting off this year. We're excited about it. They asked me to come on and coach as assistant coach, in the organization. So we're really happy and excited for this, because Matthew and most of his teammates at Phillipsburg haven't been able to play for 12 months because of COVID restrictions in New Jersey. So everyone's eager to get out back on the court.
And shout out to Horace, because that's another gentleman that just goes above and beyond for every kid that's ever crossed his path.
For sure, man. Great guy, great character. His heart's with the kids, man.
Kelly Ellis, we see you. Two great guys. Thank you. We appreciate that. We could continue to talk all night about everything that we do, everything that we've done in Phillipsburg, but I've strategically asked you to compile some lists.
Sure.
Compile some lists. I think we're going to start with, I need your top 10 rappers in no specific order. He came with a notebook ready. He knew he was going to get put on the hot seat.
I had to have the notebook. My memory isn't the best as it used to be. I'm going to be 41 in a couple of days. But, my top 10 rappers, I'm going to give it in order. This is my personal order. I mean, people might have certain stipulations on this.
Before anybody tries to discredit Scerb's hip-hop knowledge, he's the same kid that had the matching Wu-Tang clothes, me and him in high school. Not only was he Phillipsburg High's best dressed, he had another side of him where he kept it real Wu-Tang. Go ahead.
For sure. New York, shout out to New York Tailors over at Eastern. Yes. That's where we got it from.
Yes.
So my top 10 all-time rappers. Let's start at the top. We're gonna start with the Notorious B.I.G.
As it should.
Yep. Number 2, we got Redman for Dirty Jersey. That's more of what my style is. I know a lot of people might not have him that high, but I think as a lyricist, he deserves to be up there.
For sure.
And number 3, we got Jay-Z coming in there at number 3, solid. Number 4, I got Tupac. And rounding out the top 5, I got Nas in there at number 5. On to number 6, we got Eminem.
Right.
Everyone that's trying to cancel him right now, he's on my list. So
they've been trying to cancel Eminem since 2000, and they've not been successful.
How about it? And lucky number 7 on my list is a wild card here. Some people might not agree with this, but I agree with it. And I'm going to say Andre 3000 from Outkast. Underrated.
Super underrated.
Very underrated. Number 8 is a big favorite. I know of TJ's too.
For sure.
Big Pun.
It's in my top 5.
And he wasn't around long enough to hear his best, I believe. There was a lot left in him. Unfortunately, he passed away at a young age, but he was great. And number 9 will bring some back from the old school. Rakim, he deserves to be on this list. Maybe some older heads might have him higher. And to round it off, this could be controversial, but this is, like I said, this is my list, and I'm taking it back to Jersey sound again, and we're going with Eric Sermon for number 10. Underrated producer and lyricist.
Fuck with Eric Sermon.
Yep.
Fuck with Eric Sermon. Who's in your honorable mentions?
So we
got some honorable mentions. Yes, I know we got some, because we talked about this the other day.
It's tough with this list, man. You don't want to leave anyone out and discredit them. I got a couple honorable mentions. Busta Rhymes is one. It's one of my favorites. He might not have star power as the other ones I mentioned, but he deserves to be mentioned.
Busta's catalog. He's been doing this through decades and eras of hip hop, and still successful.
For sure. And I got LL Cool J. I have to mention him because that was what made me get onto hip hop. My sister got me the cassette tape back in the day. Mama said, "Knock you out." I'd put my headphones on, go to Edison Field for first down baseball practice. That's how I fell in love with hip hop. To be honest with you,
I don't even think these kids, and if you're a child watching this, you probably don't know what a cassette tape is. But we couldn't just jog through songs. You couldn't just skip to the next song. You had to pause, rewind, fast forward. It's time consuming.
And I got Black Thought on there.
Philly from the roots.
Yep. And I got Kanye and Lil Wayne on there.
Cancel culture. Every time I hear Kanye's name, he's next. Like,
Yeah. I'm hoping he can rebound and go back to his old music,
Listen,
which we
man,
really love, man. That was some good
absolutely.
stuff, man.
You know, Late Registration, High School Dropout, classic albums.
Yeah.
Greg Cartagena chimes in and says, Big Pun and Fat Joe, Greg Cartagena, I think you may be biased a little bit. I think you may be of relation to said Don Cartagena. So I think that's why they're on your list. But I discredit none. So let's get on, like, before we get into your NBA list, what players did you model your game around?
I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah.
I model my game a lot around Charles Barkley. A lot of his shooting, his turnaround jumpers he used to do. Obviously, I never had the ups that Charles Barkley had, but his rebounding, his positioning, things like that. I really looked up to Charles Barkley. I was a Barkley guy. A lot of people were rooting for Jordan back in the day. I was rooting against Jordan, and I wanted my Sixers to get in there somehow, but they never had a chance to do that until Iverson came along. But I model a lot of my game around Charles Barkley. He was my idol growing up.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, enjoyed Larry Legend.
I like Larry
because Larry was the first chopper. Like, he didn't miss.
Sure.
People don't know this too. He was a supreme shit talker.
Oh yeah. He knew how to get in people's heads, man. When you watch the old clips, man, they all say the same stuff.
Like, I forget who he was guarding. It was a rookie at the time, but they had to guard Larry, and Larry was like, I'm gonna give you all these buckets with my left hand.
Yeah. And he played lefty. I just showed Matthew that clip.
Yeah. And went bonkers on him, gave him all that left hand work.
Yeah.
What's your NBA list looking like?
NBA top 5?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll dive right into that next. Of course, I know I rooted against him growing up, but you got to give credit where credit's due. On top of that list is Michael Jordan, of course.
The GOAT.
Close behind, who set a nice precedent, is Kobe Bryant. He tried to follow in the footsteps, and I believe he did a lot for the game.
Before you go any further, I hated Kobe.
You did?
Yeah. I hated, like, growing up, like him playing for the Lakers, probably because I disliked the Lakers and Laker fans so much, and it wasn't until I started coaching that I understood what type of talent he was and the assassin he was.
Sure, I had similar thoughts on it. I didn't really like him too much. I liked him when he first came in the league, but
right.
I kind of lost a little respect for him when that stuff happened with Shaq. I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but they should have worked it out. That was what I thought, but that's a business. So
Pete Mulligan said, "We out here." Pete, what up, my guy? We are out here, bro.
I'm gonna go back to the list. Then number 3, I have Kareem on there.
Okay.
I have him in front of LeBron.
That's 2 Lakers you got back to back. I'm gonna leave it alone. But.
Sure, I'm not a Lakers fan, but Kareem, he's done a lot, man. When he came in the league with the Bucks as a youngster.
Not to cut you off, but James said Kobe. Me and James have had battles because James knows how much I disliked Kobe and Lakers fans, and I guess I had to come of age and mature a little bit to understand and respect his greatness.
Sure.
Shout out to all you diehard Laker fans that were Laker fans before LeBron went to the Lakers.
There you go. The true Laker fans, not the
Kevin Johnsons of the world and the Jameses of the world.
Sure. And as I said, I left off at number 4. I put LeBron on there at number 4.
Do you think he's going to become the greatest of all time when his career is over and done with?
It's a great debate with this greatest of all time. Every player is different in basketball. Every player means different on the basketball court. So if you want to say all around best player, maybe he could be, with his passing ability and being able to score like he does.
Yeah.
And, getting his team involved and, things of that nature. But I would say that the truest scorer, the best scorer of all time is always going to be Michael Jordan.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, LeBron, he takes a lot of flack. He speaks up on social issues, and I give him a lot of credit for that because a lot of people can take, a beating for that, but he's not scared to stand up to certain criticisms.
Alan Amy chimes in and says, "Don't be disrespectful to Kobe. He's a Philly boy." That's true. I'm trying not to. I love Kobe now. Took a while. It took a while. And Alan is now an NBA fan. We have now, yeah.
You reined them in. Huh?
Reined them in.
There you go.
We had to rein Allen in. Me and little Allen Jr. had to rein Allen in to hop on board. Who else you got on that list, though?
So at number 5, I got Bill Russell. Probably the best defensive player ever to play the game.
Has he got 11 rings?
Yeah, I believe 12.
12 rings?
I believe 12. Don't quote me. You might be right with 11. And then after that, we got another Celtic. I know you'll be happy for this. We got Larry Legend on there at number 6. Some say he might be higher, but I have him in there at number 6. Guy, you can't, injuries shut his career down early too. He could have lasted a lot longer if he didn't have the back issues that he had.
Sure.
Number 7, lucky 7, we got the Magic Man, Magic Johnson, who when you asked me who I modeled my game, I forgot to mention him.
His court vision and passing ability, just top notch. Real fast before you continue, and we could debate this. Greg says these kids couldn't play back then. Just imagine if Jordan played with the way they call fouls now. The game is so different now. I couldn't imagine players going against Oakley or the Davis brothers or the Lambiers of the world.
Nah, they would take a beating through the lane. They wouldn't be able to withstand that.
Like, it's a different era now, Greg.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It was totally different. A lot more physical back then. They put the rules in. I guess you could say AI put a lock on them rules when he was crossing up everyone and they couldn't really get to him. They had to put in rules.
That's what Alan just said, AI. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So back to the list I got rounded out. We got number 8. I got Tim Duncan on that list at number 8.
Is he the most underrated power forward in the game?
Yeah, I was looking at his stat. They put his career stats up there, and he has 5 titles. He's got 15 All-Stars, and the thing that stuck out is 15 All-NBA defensive teams. You don't see that much in your career to put in that much time on be on that defensive list like he was. So that was the anchor for them Spurs teams.
Zach chimes in and says, my brother Zach, what's up, my brother, man? We're going to have all 3 of us on and do this hip-hop roundtable talk, I believe, because
that would be nice.
We go back and forth, all 3 of us, all the time about what we listen to, in the different eras of music. Or not to get off your list and get on the music.
That's fine.
Is there anything new that you listen to? Any of these new rap? Do you listen?
Sure.
Put me on to something. Is there any new music?
The joys of being a coach of 7th and 8th graders and my son. I'm on to a lot of Pop Smoke right now. I appreciate it.
Pop Smoke.
I know you're gonna make. I know he's gonna make fun of some of these.
I rock with Pop Smoke. I was surprised because, like you said, like my son, he listens to all this new shit too.
That and then Little Baby and the Baby.
There's all kinds of babies.
2 different artists.
There's a few different babies out there.
I can appreciate certain songs from them. I don't know about listening to the whole album. It's not my generation, so I can't really get into the whole, book of work there.
I'm the same way. There's a couple songs.
Some of the songs I like, man. They're in my playlist at work. I listen to them a lot.
James over there cracking up. Yeah, yo. Yo, Pop Smoke get me amped up though, because I listen to Pop Smoke going to the gym.
I know. It's motivating.
Yeah,
right?
It gives me that MOP feel from back in the day. Like,
sure. And he knows how to change it up too. He can sing the hooks a little bit, and he can do a little bit of everything.
Zach Meyer said, "I can't lie, Little Baby is fire." Joyner Lucas is another.
Yeah, you put me on. Yeah, I was listening to some of his songs. Yeah,
that is real dope to me. Joyner Lucas is fire.
Yeah, for real. So, I mostly listen to, a lot of artists I mentioned on my list. But like I said, the joys of coaching this generation, they're going to let me know when I'm taking some of the kids to practice. They want to hear what they want to hear at times.
Can we have the aux cord?
Sure. But obviously, I try to say, it has to be, you have to put the clean version on, and they laugh at me and say stuff. But I have to do the right thing,
For sure. Who are we rounding out your NBA list with?
So my last 2 were two Giants that were in the game is Will Chamberlain and weighing in at number 9 and Shaq at number 10. They can't be left off the top 10 list. Sure, they were both two of the most dominant players ever to play the game.
I wish there was more like, because now you can go on YouTube and you can go like on Instagram. You can find all these players, all the new players now, and you see highlight tapes. I wish there was more footage on Will.
Yeah,
that we could just see how dominant he was.
Sure. It was before the breakaway rims and before they even kept blocks as a stat, I believe. So curious to see how many blocks he would have.
Monster. So who's on your honorable mention?
Yeah, I left some people on the honorable mention here. So I got Oscar Robertson on there. He averaged a triple-double for a season.
The only other player to do that was
Russell Westbrook. I told my son I would mention him, even though I don't think he deserves to be mentioned yet. But what he has done recently is extraordinary. So I have Hakeem Olajuwon on there. I have Barkley, Pippen, and D. Wade. A lot of people don't mention him, but he put together a good career.
Yeah. Joel Hummer chimes in and says, I'll never forget playing ball at the youth center and seeing you and Mr. Tarp be shooting around. We would get some good games going at that. Yo, the first youth center was a lifesaver for a lot of us growing up, man. I loved going there.
For sure.
Safe haven for so many, man.
Yep, nothing better than, Paul Plummer, throwing up the half-court shots. We had Funzy down there. He taught me a lot of fundamentals. Him and Eddie Tarpey taught me a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
Tarp was another one. Everybody would come in and ask Tarp to play, and Tarp would never play. He would just stay at that one hoop over in the corner, shooting his shots.
Sure.
And Tarp would play me and it'd be like 11-0 in a hurry. And it'd just be like, why did I even do this?
No mercy.
No mercy at all, man. No mercy.
It didn't get any easier as an adult, trust me.
My brother Dave Shell wants to know who the best defensive players are.
Best defensive players. Oh, that's a good one. Like I said, Tim Duncan would be on the list.
For sure.
Jordan, for sure.
KG,
yeah. Kevin Garnett.
He's up there for me, like, because I appreciate a great shit talker.
Yeah.
And he
was one of the best.
Like no other, but could back it up.
Yeah. And I think Bruce Bowen should be on the list too. He's underrated, but I mean that was his trademark, his defense.
Kawhi Leonard, probably.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Kawhi's up there.
Yeah.
No Rodman?
Yeah. I can't leave him off of there. He's the greatest rebounder, but yeah, I guess you could throw his defense in there too because
he didn't care about scoring at all. He just wanted every loose ball, every rebound, and just locked in.
And he would guard the centers a lot, and he was undersized, but he was strong enough to guard them. So yeah, I forgot about Rodman. Thanks for pointing that out.
Big love.
Yeah, Gary Payton.
We got some people chiming in now. Gabe, what's up, Gabe? Jason Miller. Yeah, Jason. Oh, Jesus. James says if Brandon Roy never got injured, I believe we would be talking about him as one of the best two guards to ever play.
For sure, he was a good all-around player. For sure.
I can almost say the same about Grant Hill.
Yeah, Grant Hill's ankle injury really derailed his career.
Sideline him. Yeah. Jason Kidd in his core vision passing and says Jason was tough.
Yeah, one of my favorite point guards of all time.
He was tough.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Before we get into college, me and you had a great Christian Laettner conversation yesterday.
Yeah, for sure.
About him being the most hated Duke player of all time. And before we go, my disclaimer is I hate Duke. I don't like Duke. I'm not a fan of Duke. All Duke fans, I don't like them neither at all. It's forever going to be Kansas Jayhawks and North Carolina Tar Heels over here.
Man, way to kick Duke while they're down this year. Boy.
Did they make the tournament?
No, the first time in forever. He's really throwing some shade towards it, but I can understand. You hate a lot of people hate on greatness.
Y'all would come to the house and we would watch the tournament games, and y'all would just be talking the most reckless shit because this is when Duke was on top.
For sure, yeah, back in the 90s.
All right, y'all gotta go. Y'all been here too long. Who are your top NCAA guys?
Okay, so
but before we get into that, have you been paying attention to what Tyrese Martin is doing in UConn?
Yeah, the team as a whole is a very talented team, but he has really took on a role as a all-around player, and he does a little bit of everything on that team. And he's showing out. I'm excited to see what he's going to do in his first game of the tournament, man. He's really putting Lehigh Valley on the map with his play. The kid can really play. He's really gotten even bigger since he left here physically.
Started filling out muscle-wise.
I mean, sky's the limit for the guy. I'd like to see him in the league someday. I mean, I think he has 2 more years of eligibility or 1 more after this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the kid's game still has the upside to it. Yeah,
for sure.
Doing big things.
Greg Cartagena asks, how good do you think Jay Williams would have been if he didn't get hurt?
He probably would have been a very good point guard in the league, man. He was he could score too. It's tough to tell how that goes, in the league. So many people come out of college highly, rated, and they didn't have a great NBA career. Sometimes it doesn't carry over to the NBA game.
Do you think, and not to piggyback, but a little bit, do you think Zion's going to live up to the hype?
I think he is. I think he's taking a lot of things more serious now in the second year. He doesn't want to be injured because I think it killed him to be sitting out watching when he wanted to be playing. I think could be one of the best.
He's tough. He's strong as shit.
Yeah, he's good.
I think if he trims down a little bit, maybe loses like 10, 15 pounds of that baby fat, because he's heavy. Yeah. And to be that explosive at that weight, it's going to take a toll on his body.
Sure.
But let's get into your NCAA.
So the NCAA is in the spirit of March Madness. So let's
in the spirit of March Madness, where Duke is not in the tournament, I'm glad I got him on my show. He can't say shit to me here.
This is hurting me. But on the top of the list, I think the greatest player in college of all time is Pistol Pete Maravich. Averaged something like 45 points a game, I believe.
That's wild.
And he deserves to be on the top of the list, I believe.
Fun Pistol Pete story. Didn't he give Fisher the business back in the day?
Yeah, I think you read my mind on that, TJ. I was going to mention it, but since you brought it up, I believe my former coach, high school coach, was misquoted on that. He said that he was going to lock down Pistol Pete, and I think the reporter might have misquoted him. To his chagrin, the next day, I believe Pistol Pete might have fired him 50 on him. I don't know. It was something within the 40-50 range. So I think, you can't ever say anything on Pistol Pete because he'll just come to the court and take it out on you.
I'm petty, so you should have knew I was.
It's all good.
You should have knew when
I like the storyline anyway. You really ran into it pretty good. So.
You brought up Pistol Pete. I had to bring up Tom Fisher.
Sure. There's nothing wrong with that. So number 2, I got Ralph Sampson on there. He was a beast in the tournament. I believe they won the year he was there. I believe that was Virginia he played for. And number 3, like TJ mentioned before, the most hated college player ever. You got Christian Laettner on that list. He has a lot of championships.
So why is he so hated?
I think he's so hated because he was such a competitor. He was a big shit talker too. People in the realm of Larry Bird, he would get into the mental of people. I guess when you're playing against the Chris Webbers and people that he was playing, Larry Johnsons, you gotta try to take any kind of edge you can get.
Yeah.
So he's up there, man. He made a lot of big shots for Duke in the tournaments. Number 4 on my list is Chris Webber. Another one, Fab Five back in the day. He's a great player into the NBA then, and he announces now. He's college. I mean, when I think of college growing up, I think a lot about Webber and the Fab Five. The timeout. He did make a blunder there, but he had a good career.
The only Michigan jersey I ever owned was Tractor Trailer. Let's be clear.
Oh yeah, Robert Trailer. He's a beast too. I remember that jersey, man.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Who's the greatest NCAA wrestler of all time? Ooh, Zach coming in with some heat.
That's a good one. I would have to defer to my father on that. I don't. I would say, what's his name? Cole Sanderson. I would think him maybe. I could be wrong. I know you guys could think of other people.
There's a couple guys that a couple brothers of mine, Adam Hanasak, Jay Cleaver. For all my wrestling knowledge, I will defer to them.
They know. Yeah, they would know.
If you need some basketball stats, I'm your guy.
Well, Zach, you better have your list ready, man, for next time.
Yeah,
for the
sure.
wrestling.
For sure. You done invited yourself on. Who else we got on that list?
All right, so at number 5, I got Bill Walton when he played back for UCLA. I think he won a string of championships with them. Followed by Kareem at number 6. I know you're like wondering why Kareem's on both lists, but I think he's one of the greatest basketball players ever.
He was tough. Yeah. Blue House Center, you couldn't stop.
Nah, you couldn't stop the Skyhook, man.
No.
For sure. Rounding out the list at number 7, you got Larry Johnson for UNLV running Rebels back in the day. It was a tough team. I know you asked me about this if he was on my list yesterday. Of course, Grant Hill's on the list. You have to put another Duke guy on there.
Another Duke guy.
You have to, man. I know it was going to piss TJ off, too, so I had to throw it on there. So.
Schiller just chimes in and says Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar was a good wrestler. Yeah, for sure. And rounding out the college list, I got at number 9. I got Jimmer Fredette. He was a beast a couple years back.
He's doing well. Where's he, in China?
Yeah. He's like the
dropping
biggest
crazy
thing over there
numbers,
in China now. He's doing, he's able to still play basketball.
He at that level.
Sure.
Like people think it's like easy to go overseas and play. I'm like, no, it's just as equally as hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent over there, man.
Yeah. Shout outs to Terrence over there killing him.
Sure. Yeah. Terrence is always showing out, man. He continues to lead the league every year, MVPs and championships over there.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to him back at the Fork Summer League days, man. He
Certified chemical.
Put on a show every night, man.
Certified chemical.
So yeah, to round out the list, I had to put Kemba Walker on there at number 10 with his magical
cardiac.
Run. Yeah,
Kemba.
His performance, man. He has to be on this list. The performance he had in the tournament. That's all I got for the list for the.
So I appreciate a good, well-constructed list. Before we get out of here, I want to know, to the kids coming up that play ball or that are of that generation, the new generation coming up, what is one piece of advice that you would tell them?
Sure. So I go back to the principles I coached with Frogtown. We had 3 principles that I went by with my teams. Is number 1 was always work hard no matter what, put in the full effort, work hard. Number 2, the big one, can't do anything if you don't stay positive. If you're gonna make mistakes, you're not, the ball's gonna go off your leg. Go to the next possession, stay positive. If you stay positive, a lot of good things can happen to you in any sport you play. And then the third thing is always play within your team, play as a team, play as a family, and have each other's backs in the end. You don't have to be best friends off the court, but when you're on a team, go with the team aspect, man. Don't try to be that guy that's the hero. Really buy into a team because, these are things that is beyond basketball or any sport you play. This could carry on to life relationships forever, and these people can help you out for the rest of your life. The biggest thing is to stay positive, man. There's a lot of things to be negative in this world right now. If you can stay positive, I believe God will put you in a position to be successful. So that would be probably my biggest thing I would preach to the kids of today.
Same way when I tell my kids, I'm like, 2 things. Leave it all out on the court.
Sure.
Don't ever say, you can't leave with what ifs. You know what I mean? What if I did this? What if I did that? And remain positive and humble. Don't ever get too big for yourself because we deal with a lot of players that are great talents. You know what I mean? And when the kids get older, it's a lot of reining into the egos. You know what I mean?
Sure. Stay within yourself. You're absolutely right, TJ.
Couldn't agree more. An optimistic attitude will bring great success, hard work, and goals to build your future and what you love. You're 100% right, Joel, man. Joel, I appreciate you today. I love you chiming in this episode. And before we get out of here, is there anything you want to ask me? Sure. I mean, you know everything, but whatever.
Sure. I don't have too many. I have 2 questions for you. I think the first one would be, who inspired you in your life the most, who had an impact, maybe it's a mentor, a parent, family member, anyone, someone who stuck out that really kind of made you the person that you are today?
That's a really good question.
I mean, you can name a couple people. It doesn't have to be to
That's
one.
a really good question.
Yeah.
Most of the time when people come on here, they're like, "When are you gonna put out new music?"
Well, I didn't want to get into number 2 yet, but I didn't give it number 1 first.
There's a bunch of people like, for, I was raised by one of the strongest women ever, Marianne, Colleen, Devin Bowden, Deb Varga. There was a bunch of moms on Lower Street that all kept us in check. They inspired me to just work hard now. Eddie Tarpey. When I was, it's funny, right? And I don't even know if Ed knows this, but when I was struggling, like at my worst, he would always offer me to take me to church, right? And I would always like decline whatever. But one time I went, and it was like it almost planted the seed. He's always been in my corner through everything, no matter what happened. I got a bunch of great brothers. My brother Alan inspires me. You inspire me. B inspires me. Raheem inspires me. To continue to do what I do and just show up every day.
Cool. We share a lot of similarities with Ed Tarpey. He was my mentor too, man. Shout out to Ed. He always laughs. I call him, but he is truly a Phillipsburg legend.
Yo, absolutely. I can't wait to have Ed on. Just to see what the comment section looks like. You know what I mean?
But yeah, and I guess I can't leave without asking you. So when are we gonna hear this new material? I'm waiting, man. This is, I think, the longest I ever had to wait personally. May sounds good to me.
May. It's my birthday's in May. I'm a Taurus. I gotta do shit my way.
Beautiful.
You know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with that. It's sort of why I wanted to come
nothing
on here during this time.
Nothing crazy. Like I'm gonna drop a couple little tracks for everybody, and Mickey Blue wants to do some work. I got
I can't wait for that.
EA do some work. John Quest wants to do some work. So we're gonna round it out and get it done. Hopefully a little summertime.
Sounds good to me, man. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Most definitely. But listen, we're gonna get out of here. We have things to do after this. This has been Spin with Spitter. That's Scerbo. That's one of my brothers, man. Thanks for tuning in and checking this guy out. He is a community advocate. He does nothing but stand up for the kids. You know what I mean? And that is commendable all by itself. And I'm just happy to be here and win keys to the city and shit like that.
Sure. You deserve it, man. Just keep this positive motivation going.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I got some great guests coming up. Gonna be tugging on some heartstrings soon to let you guys know, man. We're gonna continue the recovery side of this show. For those that just tuned in now, if you haven't supported my sponsors yet, if you're looking for CBD, you can go to Mom and Pop CBD Shop, 312 Town Center Boulevard in Forks Township. And if you're looking for vape supplies or anything that you need, if you vape, come to Lehigh Vape. It's over here at 822 Nazareth Pike in Nazareth. Zach, what's up, man? Peace, love, my brothers. Thank you both for all your community service work. Thanks, we appreciate you, Joel. Have a good night. With that, this is Spittin with Spitter, and we are out of here, man. Be good, y'all.